Hi, I'm Anne-Marie with Speak Confident English, and welcome to this month's Confident English Spotlight lesson. If you're new to Speak Confident English, every month in 2018, I'm interviewing one person in the Confident English community. It's my opportunity to share with you stories of some of the amazing people we have in this community. Everyone that I'm interviewing for these Confident English Spotlights has an interesting story to tell, and they're doing it in English. It takes courage and a lot of hard work to be able to do an interview in English, and I want to share their stories with you because these are women who have become successful in their careers, they're leaders in their community, doing amazing work around the world, and they've overcome challenges, they've overcome fears in English. I want to share their stories with you to motivate you and encourage you to keep going in your English language journey. This month, my interview is with Wilma, who lives in Germany. And during the interview, you'll learn much more about her background, her success in her career, some of the interesting things that she's done in her life, including being a professional ballerina. And you'll also hear how she has become successful in English, how she became able to do an interview like this and use English every day in her work. Wilma, thank you for joining me today. And I don't want to tell anyone too much about you, so will you take a moment to introduce yourself?
So yeah, my name is Wilma. I'm living in Germany, as you mentioned before. I'm 48 years old, and I'm living in the center of Germany in Dortmund. And Dortmund has a history of factories like steel or coal. And we have also a lot of history about breweries.
Wow, that's right. I remember in a class we talked about some famous beer from Dortmund. So
yeah, that's
right.
True.
One of the things that's really interesting about you that I think many people would love to hear about is something unique about German culture.
Normally, I would say typically or unique for the German culture is the Oktoberfest. Mm-hmm. But I would like to share with you a situation. I really never thought that this would be a unique German culture. And it was on last Friday. It happened after work. So I went to this parking space, and on my way, I talked to a colleague of mine who is originally from South Africa. Mm-hmm. And on our way, he immediately stopped and he finger pointed on a tree where a scarf was hanging. And he said, "This is absolutely unique for the Germans." And I absolutely not understand what he mean. And I asked him, and he said, "Germans hanging items in trees." And this is true. This is really what we are doing. And especially now in winter, you can see a lot of hand shoes hanging in trees, mostly from small children.
Okay.
We are doing this because we want to make sure that the item and or the glove or whatever is more visible for the owner, and when the owner will go the same way back where he was coming from, then he don't has to search on the ground, so only he has to look around on the trees or on the fences, and then he will find his lost item.
I think it's thoughtful.
Yeah, thoughtful. In general, the Germans are really friendly and helpful.
Your background is really interesting. You were a ballerina, a professional ballet dancer. So tell us, what is it like to be a professional ballet dancer?
I saw the videos. I think it was Siddha shared on Fluency School about the woman. She is over 70 years old and still working as a ballerina. She has her own ballet school. And I really love to see that she is still working in the world of art, and this is really her passion, what she found.
Mm-hmm.
But there is not only a sunny side. Every profession or everything what you are doing in life is also another side. And probably it's interesting to talk a little bit about the other side, and of course something really personal also from me. So as a dancer, you have to work hard for a terrible pay and little job security, and a replacement is really easy to find because there are a lot of dancers waiting in a queue only for this one moment, only for this one opportunity to show what you can to be on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And as a dancer, you have to train your body 6 days a week for 6 to 8 hours
Mm-hmm.
a day, and every training day is a day you build a new puzzle piece of your own big picture. You have to create it for your personal achievement.
Mm-hmm.
And all this, the beauty and music that surround the art, make it really, really easy to forget what ballet is. It is simply a job,
Wow.
nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a really tough one,
Mm-hmm.
and often a thankless one.
Wow.
So you still face multiple periods. You have to deal with short-term contracts
Mm-hmm.
and absolutely no job opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
because jobs as a dancer are absolutely rare.
It's a very
For
different perspective than I think most people have. I think, as you said, most people think of a ballet dancers being this wonderful person on stage, always dancing and surrounded by music, but we don't think about the other side of
yeah,
that
but
life and how competitive it is. So it sounds like you're happy that you're not in ballet anymore. You've transitioned to a new profession.
yeah, I transitioned to a new profession, but my heart is still in this world of art.
Mm-hmm.
It's still there.
Mm-hmm.
So
So talk a little bit about your transition to your new profession. What do you do now?
now I'm working as a operations manager, and I am responsible for approximately 180 people in a still growing project. So as operations manager, I'm accountable for the client service, which means that you can say that I'm the single point of contact for him, for the client. And my client is working in the internet tourism industry.
Mm-hmm.
And in this industry, especially in the internet industry, we are supporting for him 43 languages. And in the same meaning, I manage a multilingual team with cultural background. Yeah.
So very challenging, definitely challenging. So what do you like most about your job, Wilma? What is interesting to you about it, or what do you enjoy at your work?
I love the challenge of coming in every day, gaining the smart targets I set daily for myself. So every day is different, and it is a constant adventure, especially when you're working with a multicultural team and an international operating client. And the main hard work is to keep your team motivated.
Right.
And this is what I show them on a daily basis, how proud I am about my team. And I really let them know that they are the dancers, and our good results standing ovations.
Mm.
Here
I
you
love
can
that
see
analogy.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see. I always find a way back to my previous life.
Back to
So
your roots.
yeah.
So you've talked a lot about the fact that you work on a multilingual, multicultural team. Do you use English at work? And if so, talk about your English language journey.
Yeah, my English journey began in school, I think as for everyone here in Germany, but in my case with a horrible teacher. And I learned that English isn't my friend. The teacher was not able to find a way that we children learn to discover the language. That I struggled from the very beginning in my English journey. And to improve myself a little bit in English, I watched YouTube videos, and I learned some common sentences by myself. Yeah, in the beginning as an operations manager, it was really hard because I knew exactly my limits and where my knowledge gaps were. And directly from the beginning, there was no one who said, you can start a little bit later with this. So you received a lot of emails in English. Most of the confi calls are in English. And you have to give feedback to people in English who has no German skill. And it was really, really hard work for me to overcome first my fears speaking in a conference call. And the third situation is when I have to give feedback to an employee. So in the beginning, I really have to prepare myself really well to have the ability to give this feedback. And yeah, this was the beginning, and I know that I have to improve my written and verbal English skill. And my interest is, it is job related that I have to speak more in English, and it's normal that you're looking for any kind of ways how to improve yourself. Okay, I started to read books in English, watch YouTube videos, and yeah, luckily I found you.
I'm glad you did. I'm so glad that you did. One of the things you talked about earlier in your English process was you felt that your first teachers when you were a child didn't help you to discover the language, but now it sounds like you've created a process for yourself to discover the language. And have you discovered a word or an expression in English that you love, something that's your favorite word in English?
I have a lot of expressions in English I really, really love, but on the top of my personal list is "it takes two for tango."
Ah, it takes two to tango. What does that mean? That's a great idiom. What does that mean? It takes two to tango.
It means that for any kind of action or for actions or communication needs more than only one person. And I really love this.
Yeah. So my last question for you, of course, one of the reasons I'm doing these monthly spotlight interviews is it's a chance to share a story from someone else who has learned to overcome challenges in English. They've learned to become more confident and use English more easily. So for other people who are going to watch this interview who still feel frustrated, or they feel like they might want to give up, or they think it's just not possible for them to become confident, what would you say? What do you think is the secret to your success in English, and how could you encourage or motivate someone else?
So success for me will be always about making a difference and challenging myself. I love to be my own change maker.
Great expression. I love that.
Don't blame yourself. It doesn't make any sense. So boost your confidence. It is nothing you are born with, rather it is a skill that you can develop and understand that it takes time to develop.
Mm-hmm.
It won't happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
So be honest and set really realistic goals,
Mm-hmm.
and make plans to achieve it. Have a positive attitude and take this challenge with enthusiasm, and don't be afraid of failure.
Mm-hmm.
And my success in English is really simple. I started from a different point, clustered my goal in small steps, created a strategy how to gain it, and and I found fluency school.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah, I found you, and I got fortunately 2 additional options as I found fluency school for my personal achievement. The first is you as a brilliant teacher who really understand to improve my basics and boost it on short term to another level with techniques, explanations, or simply being available for any kind of questions. So you pushed or treats me softly in the direction to make progress,
Mm-hmm.
and to love my second language.
Great. That's always
And secondly, the fluency community is it's like a friendly house construction assisted by you
yeah.
and equipped with people which have the same goal.
Mm-hmm.
So be fluent in English, and in addition, it's a friendly and respectful social circle.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, I really love it.
I'm so glad. I'm glad that you love. I think the fluency community is amazing. We're so lucky to have just incredible, wonderful, friendly people there. But I love your advice because it's so practical. Know what you want. So have your motivation, set your goals. Don't expect it to happen overnight because it just can't. But give yourself realistic goals that you can take every day and stay focused on that. I think that's just such perfect advice. And it's clear that it has definitely helped you make the progress that you've wanted to make. That's wonderful. So,
Thank you.
well, thank you so much, Wilma. I really enjoyed this, and I appreciate the courage that it takes to do a public interview in English for 20 minutes and share it with others. So thank you very much for doing that, and I appreciate everything you had to share with us today.